if you have not heard the news, Attack on Titan got a new ending. So a few weeks back, after the conclusion of chapter 139, which was the final chapter of Attack on Titan, Isayama went on record to say that he would be adding about 8 more pages to the conclusion of Attack on Titan, the final chapter, to clarify. And so ever since then, people have been waiting, anticipating what he would actually do. Because, let's be honest here, these past few weeks have been crazy for Attack on Titan / Shingeki no Kyojin fans. Ever since finding out that 139 was the final chapter and the leaks came out to the unofficial translation, to the official translation, then the announcement by Isayama himself saying that, yeah, he wants to add more pages, basically indirectly admitting he did not like the ending of the manga, or at least he was saying, like, yeah, I agree with what you guys say, I know you don't like the ending, so I want to add more pages to give some more clarification. So we fast forward, a few weeks, and then there was some leaks of the added pages, and then now today, the pages officially came out where you get to read them for yourself, and that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So, I think it's been very obvious for the past few weeks of how I feel about the Attack on Titan's conclusion. For instance, the final chapter. I made a video basically ranting about the finale and how I did not like it, how it literally assassinated Eren's character, and just everything about it was just awful, and then the cycle of hatred thing, and just everything about it, I talked about it. I dove into it, I ripped it apart, I did not like it, and if you disagree with me, that was fine. But I did not like the ending. And basically, now that we have these new pages that came out, what are my thoughts? How do I feel about Attack on Titan's new ending? It's even worse. It's even worse. That's my thoughts. Like, if I rated, let's say, the series a 5 out of 10, I would rate it a 4, or even a 3 out of 10 now. That's how much I dislike the added pages. There is some good in there, don't get me wrong. There is some things that are good, but for the most part, it's awful. And really just complicates everything even more, unnecessarily complicates things to where we don't need it, and there was so much wasted potential in these pages that were added that could have added so much more to characters and more, like, epilogue. But no, we didn't get that. Honestly, the whole point of the final pages that were added was just to say, guess what, guys? Attack on Titan 2 coming out. Don't worry. We basically have a whole Boruto situation. We're going to have a continuation, everything that, the story tried to do with the cycle of hatred and how it's basically worthless, and Eren died for pretty much nothing, everybody else died for pretty much nothing. Don't worry. It's going to start back up again with part 2. Get ready for that. That's basically what the added pages do. Like, okay, let me give some context if you have not seen it for yourself. I want to show the images, okay? So basically, you have the whole Paradise Island. It gets destroyed, like, just legitimately destroyed. Like, I'm showing you the image. It gets destroyed by the 20% of humanity that remains, that was not on the island. They come back probably a few centuries later, because you can see the architecture of the buildings are different. Society has progressed, but a few centuries or generations later, they come back, they level Paradise. You can even see a panel right after that where you can see it's just rubble. It's desolated. There's nothing left but this sole single tree that's right there, which obviously was at the original ending of Attack on Titan where you saw Eren was buried there. That sole tree that just stands there. And then we go to the next page that was added, and you see this descendant of Mikasa actually go up to the tree, and there's a hole in the tree, which is straight up the exact same thing as when Ymir went into the tree and got the Titan shifting power. So if this does not just straight up tell you that, like, oh, a sequel is coming, I don't know what else to say. So let's talk about the ramifications of this. What does this actually mean, and why do I think this ending is even worse than the original? That's saying a lot. So let's actually dive into the beginning. So, for those that don't understand why this is bad, we got to think about what Eren's objective was. What he was trying to do. His original goal was to kill all the Titans. Get rid of the Titans. That was his objective, and obviously when he learned more about the world, it became less naive. He learned about what the Titans really were, where they came from, who the enemy was, etc. And we saw how Eren developed into a very interesting character after the time skip, with everything he learned. And with these pages I want to show you here, this is when Eren's character really started to unfold in everybody's eyes. We got to actually see what Eren was, and how he was a driving force to everything at that very point. This villain, this monster that was really orchestrating everybody to go down this certain path for he can have the ending that he wants. An ending to where paradise is free, the world has had a rumbling and everything. Titans are gone. Everything about this page, these pages I'm probably showing you, basically showcases Eren what he was fighting for and why people fell in love with him. And even though we understood the context of it and that he was the cause for a lot of deaths, what made this so impactful is that Eren was so driven for freedom. He was so driven to get rid of his opponent that he was willing to do these despicable things. And the thing is, that's what made it so interesting. We had our main character turn basically into an antagonist. So we fast forward a few chapters. And obviously, Eren, he finally is doing the rumbling, and people are dying, the world is getting stomped, and he decides to stop at 20%. He gives his friends, the allies, the chance to be able to step in and finish him. And obviously, we know what happens. He gets defeated, and he becomes ahead, Mikasa carries him off and buries him, etc. And he pretty much didn't get to finish his objective. At the same time, it is revealed in the last chapter, not the extra pages, that he was the very reason he had so much anger and animosity towards Titans. He literally sent the Titan to kill his mother, which really says a lot. The implications of that is insane. He allowed Bert to live to get rid of his mother, to allow himself to get angry, and then lead the spiral of all of these events that happened to this very point. So every individual character that died was thanks to Eren, because he created his own self to be angry. He literally caused all the problems. Every single individual problem that happened was thanks to Eren. So you think if you want to go this far to do what you have done, you think you would have a good conclusion. But no, Eren didn't even have an idea in mind. He literally was an idiot in the very end. He straight up wiped out so many of humanity and left them alive where they can turn around, come back, and destroy Paradise Island with these new pages. Which basically meant that everything he sacrificed was for nothing. Now, I know people are going to back up and start talking about, okay, so yeah, maybe Paradise a few centuries down the road is going to get destroyed. Okay, fine. I will level with you, and we'll talk about the present that he saved. For instance, Mikasa getting to live to an old age, John literally getting with Mikasa, and oh my goodness, I'll talk about all this in a second. But basically, with him saving that present day, this is pretty much what Eren did. He sacrificed, let's say he had 20, 30 comrades. We know there's been a lot more deaths than that, but let's keep it small. Let's say he had 20 to 30 comrades that he really cared about, he loved, okay? He decided, in his big brain he has with the final chapter, like, guess what, guys? I'm going to cause all of the problems we experience throughout the series. I'm going to kill about, let's say about 26 of you. So there's going to be about 4 of you left out of 30. So that means that even though I care about all of you individually equally, I want to sacrifice basically majority of you, 2/3 of you guys, to be able to have a select few live on. And then once they live on to an old age and their children's children, their children or whatever, they're going to suffer. They're going to die. But don't worry about them. I don't care about them. I'm not trying to break that cycle. I'm just trying to save a few of you. And you guys get to live on, while everybody else gets to suffer. Even the children of your, the people I care about. They're going to suffer too. That's what Eren did. That is literally what Eren did, okay? So, he literally gave no craps about Mikasa's future and her children's future, the grandchildren. He literally created an entire cycle again of people just suffering, generation after generation after generation. He is no better than King Fritz and Ymir and what they did throughout their 2,000 years of history. For instance, let's look at this line right here. Literally, you see Eren get angry when the founder is like, people need to live in ignorance and all that. I mean, you see the father, Grisha, he starts talking like, people deserve to know, to be able to learn from the mistakes and all that, and not live in ignorance. We need to know these things. And you see Eren agreeing with him and getting more and more angrier at the founding Titan, basically saying, nah, they need to be in ignorance. And I'm thinking to myself, like, Eren, you literally just did the exact same thing. You literally did the exact same thing. You created the exact same situation. The reason why this is emphasized even more is because the child of Mikasa, or the grandchild of Mikasa, enters into a tree to become Ymir. do you not see what's wrong with this? Eren literally cursed Mikasa's bloodline to suffer like Ymir suffered, and the Eldians suffered. Do you not see what's wrong with that? Do you not see what is wrong with that? But, once again, this conclusion basically says everything Eren did throughout his life was worthless. Everything he accomplished, everything he did was straight up worthless, and he just created the exact same situation once again. He did. Just created the exact same situation. Now, let's dive into another part that really irked me about this finale. This page. Been saving this one. So this right here, if you don't understand the context, let me explain. So Mikasa gets to see Ymir in the mist after she's carrying Eren's head. And basically she's like, thanks to your children being around is why I'm here right now. So in that moment, it's pretty much implied that two things either happened. Ymir didn't protect King Fritz, and he actually did in fact get impelled, which opens up a whole huge controversy, retcons and everything, which I'll talk about in a second. Or it's her falsifying her own memories. Whatever the case may be, it's not properly explained. It's a very poor way to kind of emphasize these elements, because I feel like if you're wanting to imply that maybe this is a what-if scenario, there's better ways to go about it. Everything about the scene is not properly conveyed to the reader, which is a very bad thing, which leads to a lot of mistakes, leads to a lot of people misinterpreting it. It's bad. I mean, the original ending was bad, yes, but it was more open-ended to where you could really fill in the own blanks. But with this, it's so like badly conveyed to the reader, you don't really know how to think about it, because you could say it's a what if, but also you don't know, because it's not straight up told that it's a what if. And if it isn't a what if, let me explain why this is bad. Thanks to her dying for King Fritz and dying that day, it set the whole time limit for Titan Shifters, 13 years. It allowed us to find out how the Titan power is passed down. For instance, Ymir's children devoured her very spine to pass on the power, and then the 9 Titans were created. And we know the original children were named after the individual walls. There's so much about this that is retconned, if that is indeed the case. And like I said, this is why it's bad that it wasn't conveyed properly to say that this is a what if. She didn't do that. And so that's the problem here. Is now I'm in a position to where either or can happen. And that's bad. That's really bad. Because if that in fact means that if she didn't take the spear, how were the Titans created? Why was she alive? Like, only alive for 13 years, and all other Titan shifters are alive for 13 years. There's so much bad about that. I am just flabbergasted. But the problems continue. John and Mikasa. Now, I'm not one of those shippers. I don't give a crap who ends up with who. If Mikasa ends up with Eren, Mikasa ends up with Reiner, John, whoever. I don't care. I literally don't care, okay? I want to say that first, because people are gonna instantly say, Chibi, you're a crusty guy that didn't want John and Mikasa to be together, or you wanted Eren and Mikasa. No. I don't care who she was with. I'm not one of those shippers that will crap on a story when honestly the story was never about romance to begin with. Obviously, Isayama thinks differently now, because the ending is supposed to be a romance, which is just like, okay. But let's explain. So John, he gets with Mikasa. He has a child. But you know what's sad about this? Mikasa never moved on. And let me explain why she never moved on. She literally visited this man's grave, Eren's grave, pretty much yearly, to the point where she had children, grandchildren, as old age feeble, and she gets buried next to him and dies. And dies with his scarf. Basically admitting that every time she was around John, she was like, oh, you're someone I just am with out of circumstance. I didn't really want to be with you. And it makes the whole situation very sad. It turns John's entire character into just something pathetic. He's with someone that literally couldn't give up or let go of Eren. And she even gets buried next to him. It's just like, what? What? It's just... even the ending of Bird Eren was better, because it at least left with Mikasa with a smile where she might be able to move on. But with that, it just makes it so pitiful. It really just, it's so pitiful for John's character to turn out like that and be with someone that literally just did not move on. And then now her entire bloodline is cursed to carry on the legacy of Ymir. It's just like, what? Ugh. So, here's the thing. There was a few things that came out from the editorial department, apparently, the magazine, and I'm going to show it on screen. Basically, it's implied that there is going to be a continuation. Definitely. I mean, it was already clear enough, as is, with the final pages, but it's pretty much certain that we're going to be getting a Boruto situation with Attack on Titan. So, this means that Eren's entire character got assassinated, and Mikasa's character ruined. The ending of Attack on Titan basically was pointless. The entire journey of the story was pointless, just for you get a continuation, with Mikasa's descendant being cursed. Do you not see what's wrong with that? It's just like, if that really is the case, then this means behind the scenes, Isayama was basically forced to ruin his series. He was forced to ruin it, just so he can have a continuation. Ew. So, just... Attack on Titan. It's sad. It's sad to see a series that... it started off so strong, kept getting better, and turned into what it is now. This ending really makes everything worse. The fact that Paradise literally gets destroyed and Eren sacrificed basically 2/3 of his comrades just to save a select few and then screw over their children and their children's children. It's just like, yeah, just no. Eren literally, he did the exact same thing as King Fritz. Nothing changed. Everything is the exact same. And this is why I don't usually like the cycle of hatred being a part of a story and the main concept, because all it really does is say, like, oh, nothing's gonna change. Same thing's gonna happen. That's literally it. And I dislike that type of storytelling, because it's just like, okay, so it makes everything else not matter in the end. All this struggle, all this fighting doesn't matter. And yes, it is human nature, and we do that stuff. But it's like, even then, it's just... There's so much more you can do with a story. There's so much more. And even the fact that the Titans are still around, that removes the very thing that Eren fought for. Titans came back, which basically means that anything that Eren wanted to accomplish, his main objective, he didn't even get that. He didn't even get what he wanted from his main objective. He did not kill all the Titans. They survived. And Mikasa's bloodline is cursed. So he didn't even accomplish his main objective, which I praised with the finale of the original ending. He did not even get that ending. Now do you see why this finale is bad? The Titans live on, and Eren literally accomplished nothing. Even if the cycle of hatred continues, he didn't even get rid of the Titans. That's the problem. So yeah, dog crap ending. Dog crap, bad series, awful, just, I'm done. You all have a wonderful day or not wherever you live. Be safe. Chibi out.